Well, folks, it's Labor Day weekend. It's a time when, of course, yes, we're going to have the barbecues and we're going to have the hot dogs and the hamburgers, but it's a time when we should celebrate the dignity of work. Work, hard work, is critical to the fulfillment of the American experience. Unfortunately, there's a strong current in American society today that seeks to cheapen the value and the nobility of work. Today, our news is filled with talk of quiet quitting or the great resignation, and of course, the desire of the left to expand welfare, thereby disincentivizing work. Work isn't just about getting up in the morning and going somewhere to pass the time for a paycheck. Work is indispensable to the human condition. And lest we forget, its value is biblical in its origin. Both the Old Testament and the New Testament make clear it's God's intention that we should work as a sign of our service to Him and His creation. We recall 1 Corinthians 3:8, and each will receive his own reward according to his own labor. You know, people by nature are not sedentary beings like other animals, and yes, we are animals, folks. We are meant to be physically active, but our advanced minds and our God-given souls also require the nourishment that comes from being productive. One of the benefits of the manufacturing and agrarian economies that we've abandoned to China, India, and elsewhere was the physical labor that yielded visible production. You plowed a field or you made a widget, and you saw what you created. Today's office culture, produced by the higher education racket, often doesn't come with that level of satisfaction. Restoring the dignity of work will restore the promise of an America where people create their own wealth. In our system, no one is guaranteed to be wealthy, but wealth creation in its various forms is part of what ensures our independence from government. That is available to everyone. Wealth transfers of the last 50 years, however, have cut against this basic model for American success and freedom. We artificially inflate the earnings of those who work, and we deflate those who receive welfare. We overtax those who work to fund government programs that provide generous payments that disincentivize earning and growing wealth. In a recent Wall Street Journal op-ed, former Texas Senator Phil Gramm and former Bureau of Labor Statistics official John Early state the harrowing problem very clearly. They said, quote, given the surge in transfer payments or welfare since the war on poverty, it isn't surprising that the percentage of working-age people in the bottom quintile who actually worked plummeted from 68% in 1967 to 36% in 2017. President Abraham Lincoln warned, quote, that no country can sustain in idleness more than a small percentage of its numbers. The great majority must labor at something productive. And folks, work doesn't just protect against statism, it saves lives. In a nation where depression and mental health issues are crippling millions and claiming lives every day, hard work adds to self-worth, self-confidence, and self-esteem. Playing video games, scrolling through video clips, and watching pornography, pastimes that have become an epidemic of nihilism in this country, sap our desire to work. Don't believe me? In 2018, a survey found that almost 60% of respondents admitted to watching online porn at work, and another noted 70% of internet porn use happens during work hours. Those staggering numbers, by the way, that was pre-pandemic. All of that wastes time and money to be sure, but it also erodes the human soul, and it impacts our interpersonal relationships, making work less fulfilling. Psychologists call it moral disengagement and dehumanization. Those who promote, ignore, or reinforce societal conditions or behaviors that devalue work, they're the ones who tear at the fabric of the nation. That agenda is not ignorance, of course. It's intended to create a servitude to the state that is anathema to the American way of life. People who do this ultimately infect the nation with what George Washington called a pretended patriotism. It benefits no one. The notion that, as Ronald Reagan said, the best social program is a job cannot be viewed with skepticism by our leaders if this nation is going to survive and thrive. All of the great dynasties of history, folks, they collapsed under the weight of entitlement, laziness, or the excesses of authoritarianism, and America will be no different if the current trends continue. So, this Labor Day, let's recommit ourselves to the dignity of work. The benefits are more than just financial. It will save lives, strengthen our spirits, and help bring about a rebirth of American freedom.